Wagwan decoding movers, movement decoders. I'm back. Your boy is back. It's been a hot minute. Sorry for the hiatus. I got no excuses. I fell off the wagon. I'm really sad about it. I've been losing sleep about not uploading. And we're back with energy, with ashe, because your boy has a plan. Anyway, we're going to open this up with a skill very much requested, Helicoptero, in a way that I feel could be very useful. There's a couple other tutorials through the pipelines on this. This is going to be the pitfalls that I went through when learning it as like a more of a stiffer person later in life, learning it in my late 20s, 30s. I say later in life. Work with me here, it's relative. There's kids that have been doing this since they were like. So, anyway, Helicoptero. The movement is like so. That was a bit heavy. I'm cold in the body, in warming up. So, we should do a proper warm up. Prerequisites for Helicoptero, I say, would be having a proficient cartwheel, just feeling comfortable. Doesn't have to be both sides. It's good to be working symmetrically, but we will have a dominant side, we will have a dark side. So cartwheels is one prerequisite. Something that will very much help is a couple layers of forward arching acrobatic elements. One of them being a forward macaco, which is very useful for standing out of the helicoptero. Again, kind of a demonstration here. And maybe even scenarios, maybe even doing this with landing on one leg. We've got variation of forward cartwheel and also Hivasau. Not completely necessary. If you've got the Hivasau, and I've got another video on this, this actually bode this huge crossover from Helicoptero and Hivasau. So if you have this movement, it doesn't have to like spin out. It can be, oh, that was forward cartwheel, Hivasau. If we can come out on that single leg contralaterally, we're in a very good space for Helicoptero. Right, what have we got? I've actually written notes down so I don't flap. A good sissy squat is important. So we're not going to do too much of a warm up here. I'm going to give some prerequisite drills. That's not going to necessarily warm you up for this, but it's going to activate the right areas to practice Helicoptero. So please go to one of my other videos where I explore back bends, shoulder mobility, maybe even watch Hivasau if it's not in the practice, and then come to this video. Maybe even use that as a warm-up and then come straight to this one. I'll put the links in the description. It could go very well. What I'm going to give here is more of activation for the Helicoptero itself. If you're very open and warm already, then let's go with it. Sissy squat. Take this off. Sissy squats. Is this even filming? Oh, please say it's filming. Yeah, it is. Sissy squats. 3. I call these the big. This, if you have this pattern, your arching acrobatics are going to be beautiful. So first, up on the toes. 2 actions here. Knees bend, hips forwards. That's all. So that's layer 1, making sure we stay in a posterior pelvic tilt. Knees bend, hips forwards. Then from there, we can find this tension, this connect chain through the body, through our spiral lines. Knees bend, hips forwards. T-spine rotates. On that rotation, we can do this alternating sides. So you've got 1, 2. Layer 3, very important. That gets missed out a lot. The external rotation of the shoulder. So I'm just filming for 1 second. Is that all right, lovely? I'll be here 15 minutes. Thank you. Sanchez. Rotating the shoulder, external rotation here. So, and the third one, the one that's kind of sneaky, gets missed out a bit, is the external rotation of the shoulder. So 1, 2, 3. So like you're turning on a tap, thumb facing backwards. How low can you go? You don't have to touch the floor. If you can, it really helps. So still in a rotation, maybe tap the foot. We've got all 3 working sequentially, like so. That one to the floor. Notice how I almost kind of like fell out of it. This is kind of the momentum we want to create. It's an impulse from controlling from the pelvis and then passing it onto the shoulder. If we're going backwards, if we're going forwards, we control from the shoulder, pass it onto the pelvis. So here I rotate. If I come down, I rock and push. Again, other side, rock and push. Rock and push. Rock and push. Notice my foot somewhat coming in line with my heel. So big 3, sissy squats. If you've got these, you might notice the shape is very much relative to forward macaco, reversal, adjuflange, adjucosta, macaco en pie. It's get this strong and you're pretty much dialing everything anyway. But part of the warm up here, it really hits the helicoptero. What have we got next? Oh yeah. So as we noticed in the reversal, which is the same exit as helicoptero, it's a contralateral exit. So it means planted foot, planted hand. So we're going to just play with the body tension. With that, the shape, turn the toes out about 10 and 12, 10 and 2 o'clock for those with analog, and then I create tension in that long leg, so tension through the leg. So if my left foot's planted, my right hand is tapping back, creating that line of tension in the body, and then coming back up. What you can do is give yourself a little target to play with. I'll do the other side, so right foot planted, left leg long, left hand coming back. Can I tap down and come back up with control? Maybe do like 10 on one side, 10 on the other side. Tension, tension, tension. Tap, back up. If it's very comfortable, play with the height. With control. With control. How low can you go? It doesn't have to go crazy low because a lot of it we use momentum for the helicopter, so the range doesn't have to be crazy. If you're strong and mobile, then it just bodes very well for you. So let's say 10 on each side of that. Make sure you're keeping that front line tension. Cool. And yeah, just adding to that detail. Tension through the toes. Tension through that left glute. Reach, reach, reach. External rotation. And back. This is my dark side. I need to train it more, so one more. What's really going to help is your toes turning out slightly, so your knee can track out to the side, and it creates a little bit more space to come down on a diagonal. If I'm forwards, it's very stifling. If I turn out, I create a bit more space. Cool, next. Let's warm up into the shoulders because I don't want us to go into this super cold. One hand fixed to the floor, I'll do my dark side. Fixed to the floor, I'm just going to explore the strength around the shoulder, pushing the ground away, walking until you can't go any further, and then just flossing that shoulder joint. Play with feet away from the hand, play with feet close to the hand, shoulder above the wrist. You can get nice and close to the floor, push up tool, play with different ranges, floss in those ranges. Where can you go? Hop, hop. We can do that about a minute on both sides. You can go low, up, feet away from the hand, hop, rotate, explore. Just tease. You don't have to go that fast. I was showing different images There's no right or wrong. You can just breathe. Slow movements. Push out the shoulder. 1 arm push-ups. And from there, now, contralateral hover. So basically, there's a slight momentum gap with many people where you get as close to the ground as you can with this hand. Oh, notice I can't get to the floor. So how can we build the strength and stability from the other side? We start from the ground. This arm behind the ear somewhere, so my hips and chest belly is open, and I can dab contralaterally. So my right foot, my right hand is down, my right foot dabs. Can I maybe float the foot, maybe extend and lift, hip staying high so it's not here. We're really trying to create this extension, shoulder above the wrist, and explore, dabbing, hovering, extending. And that, both sides. So contralateral, left hand down, right foot down. So the left foot dabs, goes up, lifts, extends. Really strong shape to work with. That can be activation. Maybe hold 2 to 3 rounds of 30 seconds on each side. Right. Now, getting into the Helicoptero itself. Most important, I mentioned cartwheel as a prerequisite. Cartwheel, but with suspension of the arms. So it doesn't have to be this gymnastics, straight arms, but really feeling the bending of the arms. That gives you this receiving and giving away. Don't need to kick the ass out of that. Cartwheels. Also, if you're on this video, maybe you've tried Helicoptero a couple times already, and it's just not patterning. You've watched some tutorials. Hopefully you've come to this one first, or hopefully this one's going to fix yours. But when I first started doing it, obviously Helicoptero has this lovely winding, this lovely flourishing of the legs. What happens to a lot of people is they just focus on, okay, it's a cartwheel, but instead of the right foot coming down, it's the left foot coming down, and you focus so much on this left foot. Let's say if I'm cartwheeling to the left, that it ends up kind of going like this. I did that for ages, and it almost feels like you're doing it as well. Like, really switch and pushing out. And notice how you don't get quite that same flourishing of the legs. So, how do we fix that? We give ourselves an external cue. I used it with an empty plastic water bottle where it didn't hurt the foot. Some people use like foamy ice cubes or something if you're in a gymnastics center or a tricking gym. We've got some Pilates balls in our yoga studio, so this is going to do. Alignment for this drill. Let's focus on the alignment for the cartwheel. I missed a spot. Cartwheel. We're going to take our cartwheel with suspension arms slightly different. Forgot this bit. This is such an important detail of giving yourself space. So the cartwheel, we kind of sometimes think of it as being on this line. What we need to do is create the spiral wind up. So we reach, spiral around, and the hands actually reach behind our line here. We reach slightly further back through this extension. So I reach. The landing doesn't really matter so much. Just for practice, I'm going to try and stay on feet on one line, hands on the back line. So again, I spiral, reach, and I create tension through the reach. I reach through. If I'm cartwheeling to the left, I reach through the outside, the right hand. Notice that lovely space that we create. Very important. Reach, stretch, space. Different angles. Reach, stretch, space. Reach, stretch, space. Okay, so let's come back to Pilates ball. Now what we're going to do is have a little cue where feet are about 2 foot distance away, maybe. And I'm still creating this reach, stretch, space, so I can be on this bear crawl position. And that's how I'm going to create the cartwheel. Like so. Reset on the other side. Reach, stretch, space. This is the alignment we want when we practice this drill. Notice I'm behind. Space. For those who are less mobile, especially in the back bend, you want to create this space because when you wind out, you've got loads of strength and torque and tension to utilize to come out. So now the movement is the trailing foot. I'm going to demonstrate on my dark side, actually. So if I'm reaching to the right side, my left foot is going to wind like a cartwheel. And instead of coming down to the ground here, I let it stay in the sky. And all I do is try to kick the target off to the side. And it's really patient. I'll just demonstrate. I missed it, but doesn't matter. Did you see what happened to the foot? It came all the way down here. This is what we want to create. I'll try and kick it this time, even though it really doesn't matter. As long as you're reaching for it. There we go. Notice how now this pendulum swing is starting to happen. So all this momentum from chasing the target, don't go. There we go. All this momentum of my right leg now swinging down. Just in the last moment, boom, I relax my body, kind of let it go. Practice that 10,000 times to get used to that pendulum swing. After that, we can talk about the exit. But if that feels good, now visualize without the ball, but do the same action. And don't hold so tightly onto the final product of the helicoptero. This is where I'm going to invite a bit more flow out of the movement. So as you do it, maybe it turns into other elements of practice. So we don't have to be too attached to it being this big motion out. If there's some way you can create a connection into movement, feel free. Yeah. This is me going off on one. But there's a sneaky helicoptero. Not only that, can you find ways to get into it. And then this is where we start to attack the skill from 2 different elements: technique and refinement and repetition, and an unrefined welcoming of the level that you're at. So just give yourself breathing space. This is, ironically speaking, it's just so you don't get hyperfixated on the skill, because sometimes, say I repeat. This is a pitfall that I went through. I learned maybe more a technical skill from my body, but I've got no conversation in and out of it. I might do the helicoptero, get stuck, and then, or I have to enter with it because it's built up or whatever it is. So loosen the reins, play. So, back to the skill. Visualize it. Now, with the pendulum swing down, usually the hardest part is to come out of it. So if I go, you get stuck in this position. It can be really hard to push out. This is where the warm-up drills, the activation drills, will prove useful, especially this one. And feeling the rock, which is really going to help create the exit out. Few other drills that we can try. Yeah, I'll just demonstrate it now. So that we can elevate the hands. I actually really don't want to do this drill. This is one that I never used when I learned the Helicoptero, but I've seen many people teach it this way, and I've seen people click with it. What this does is it gives the back bend way more space to come out. Okay, so the hands elevated. We do the same motion with the legs. I hope I don't hit the wall. First time try, let's see. We'll just try it. So entering the same. Reach, stretch, cartwheel, foot comes down. Can it wind me out? I'm trying to coach myself through it because I'm actually quite scared to try this. Let's go. That doesn't work. Honestly, I've cut this video at some point. I gave it 1 or 2 goes just to get used to it because I didn't want to waste time learning it in front of you guys. You know what, I might actually keep it in because it's just honest. I promise I can do this one as well. It's actually way easier. I'll put a clip in here. Yeah, so I can do it. I think it's just the space. You want to make sure you have space. I could bring it back and get a yoga mat, but I cannot be bothered because the box will slide when I put effort through it. So we're just going to try it. Same motion. High, low. And it gives so much, that wasn't too bad. It gives so much space to come out. And yeah, basically just assisting this element. I didn't learn it this way, but it can feel nice to actually appreciate what it is to come out of it with high hips. And then all you can do, if you can DIY it, take it lower and lower and lower until you start to bridge the gap between being on the floor. So I don't think there's too many drills from this. Repeat the skills. Sissy squats, contralateral, hovers, hips high, body tension, maybe hands elevated. Go for Helicoptero and loosen the reins. Eventually through that repetition, pushing out of this shape, up, will really help. There's a huge impulse through this shoulder as well. So as I come out, I really let the chest wind as I go. As that leg comes down, push through the shoulder and come up. Another wall drill, throwing in drills, let's go. I forgot. I purposely didn't say this at the start because I wanted you to focus on kicking the external cue, the missing ingredient with a Helicoptero that no one talks about. No one. Hand placement. Cartwheel. If I'm going Helicoptero this way, I place my left hand down, normal, trailing hand. Like this. Then it gives you that full external rotation to push out of. It's really important because a lot of people just place their hands in a cartwheel and then it's really hard to push out. But you just turn the hands slightly, you've got all of this power now, this back bend power to push out of. So purposely didn't say because focus on the right technique with the legs. This might be the pièce de résistance, placement of the hands. So again, how can I demonstrate so you could see? Let's demonstrate this side. Reach, stretch, space, kick, push. I'm going to try it on my dark side. Do I want to try it on my, yeah, honest. All right, let's try. sorry about that. There's me trying to teach the skill and I ain't got on both sides. I'm just a bit hesitant. Usually I can, honestly, I can into some other variations and things, but today not so much. Let's see. It comes when it wants to. Don't know what that was. Anyway, yeah, practice all of that. It'll come. Then see how you can just enter the shape a bit more softly to play with. Entrances, wind, rolls, whatever it is. Entries and exits, softening the reins on the skill. Maybe that helped. Anyways, I'm back from hiatus. Hello. Got no reason why I was gone. Just fell off the wagon. Been beating myself up for it. Just needed to keep the consistency going, and I guess a little bit of like imposter syndrome, because I'm flipping got abundance of ideas and creations. Just that just kind of came in a bit, I guess, and impeded the flow. But I'm just gonna keep sharing, because if I've got one like, one subscriber, then I'm doing somewhat positive, maybe. I hope. But yeah, if you like, there's a lot of work coming into this as well. So if you like the thing, give it a like. An extended form of gratitude. It's just the cost of a cup of coffee. Link downstairs if you get it. Much appreciated. I bought some new equipment to make things just a little bit more professional. Whatever. Enjoy exploring. Check out the other videos, and we'll be back with more.